Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about changing a tube, okay? Changing a tube is a really important skill to be able to do out on the road. It makes you very self-sufficient on the bike, and it ensures that no matter what problem happens, you're able to sort it yourself, okay? So what do we actually need to change a tube? So normally we'd have these in a saddlebag or in our back pocket out on the road, but we need tire levers, okay? We need a mini pump or something similar to this, and we need a tube itself. So the next few steps is we'll just run you through how to actually take off your wheels, how to change your gear into the appropriate gear, and how to actually remove and replace the tube itself. So the first thing you're going to need to do when you're changing a puncture is actually take off the wheel itself. Now there are some variations when you're taking off wheels, but we'll try go over the basics here. So number one, you're going to need to loosen your brakes, okay? With a lot of braking systems, there's a quick release mechanism here, which you just flick back like this, or else you flick down. With some brakes, you need to squeeze the caliper together to actually remove the wire or the braking cable, and it will open up the brake itself. Once the brake is released then, you need to come down to the quick release lever and just unwind it. Once it's unwound a good bit, you can simply give the wheel a little bang and the wheel will come out. And that's perfect. Okay, so now we're going to show you how to take off the rear wheel. Now taking off the rear wheel has much similar steps, but also a few key differences. What you're going to need to do first is come up to your gear shifter, okay? Most gear shifting systems will have a little paddle here. If not, they'll have another paddle up here that you need to click with your thumb. You'll need to click that down until there's no more clicks left in it. Come to your pedal, give it a quick rotation so that you're in the lowest gear. This would be very similar to a gear now that you would be in going down a hill, okay? Then you're going to need to come up to your brake itself, repeat the same process unclasping it, and then come down to the quick release. Exactly the same as the front. You're going to need to undo the quick release, undo it slightly, and then grab your rear derailleur here, which is what's responsible for changing gears at the back of your bike, and just lift it up and pull it back. The wheel will then drop out and it will be separated. So once we have our wheel off, changing the puncture is the exact same on both wheels. Step one, what we need to do is we need to pick up our tire lever, okay? We need to just gently pry the tire off the rim by pushing it in. Get our tire lever and just wedge it underneath there slightly. Give it a little push and then slowly but surely work your way down the rim. So you'll notice the further you go, the easier it becomes to actually take the tire off the rim itself until you have a whole side exposed. What you're going to need to do then is you're going to just need to pull the tire back a little bit to get the tube and just simply pull the tube out of the wheel itself. Once the tube is out, you need to put it to the side, okay? And then you need to just visually inspect the tire and also run your finger carefully in alongside the underneath of the tire. And that's simply just to find whatever caused the puncture, be it a little torn piece of glass or any number of things, okay? Once you find the object, you can locate it. Sometimes there may not be an object actually in the tire. It may have been something called an impact puncture, which means that you may have hit a hole causing air to come out of your tire as well. In each case, we're going to need to replace the tube. So you're going to need to grab your new tube, connect up your mini pump, and give it a few little pumps of air just so the tube holds its shape. What you're going to need to do then is just locate the valve hole, which is up here luckily for me. And then you simply just insert the valve down into it. Simply then, it's a process of just reversing the steps that you did previously, okay? So just feeding the tube in around the tire itself and then popping the tire over the rim. Usually with this, you can generally pull it on over with the tips of your fingers. Sometimes once it gets a little bit tougher, you may need to use the kind of ball of your hands there just to roll it up over onto the rim itself. So once you get the last bit of the tire up onto the rim, and don't worry, this may take you a couple of minutes depending on how tight the tire is, what you need to do then is just visually inspect around the outside of the rim to make sure, yes, it's all seated in there correctly. Once you're happy with that, you need to come back and pump up your tyre. Can edit this around here. So as you're pumping up your wheel, it's important to just kind of keep an eye on it just to make sure there's no obvious bulges coming out the side of the rim on either side. And if there's not, then you're okay to just continue pumping it up to the pressure that you need to ride at. So now that our tyre is nice and fixed, we're going to get our wheel and put it back onto the bike again. Okay, so remembering our steps from the last time, we need to grab our rear derailleur, make sure one part of the chain is over and one part of the chain is underneath the cogs. Pull it back so that it is sitting nicely, and simply takes a little bit of playing around with, but the wheel should just sit into the rear dropouts then. What you need to do then is just do up the quick release nut slightly and push the quick release in. Sometimes the wheel won't be sitting square, like we see here now, it's getting stuck on the brake. What you'll need to do in that scenario is simply undo the quick release, and the wheel will sit back in squarely when it's pushed firm down on the ground, and then simply just do the quick release back up again. After that, you just need to make sure the wheel is spinning freely, which it is here, and we do our brake back up then again, and then we're ready to go. So guys, that's a little breakdown on how to change a tube out on the road. Again, from my point of view, it's really important to reinforce and learn this skill at home. All you have to simply do is let some air out of your tyre and just take the tube out and put another tube back in, and just repeat the process a few times just to drill the skill into yourself. So when the time comes and you have to change it out on the road, you'll be more than comfortable and competent to actually change it yourself.